While I was serving as the Christian Servicemen Center Director in RAF Milton Hall in England, I had the pleasure of serving the chaplain's parish there for the Catholic diocese as the Christian Education Director. And I was totally unfamiliar with Catholicism and with things related to Catholicism. I come from a Pentecostal background, very, very different. And as one of the things that they asked me to do almost immediately was to attend a service to gather the anointing oil for the Catholic parish from a service being conducted about an hour away. And that was a life-changing experience for me. There was something about this service that really, really sunk into me, that I was sitting in a 1,000-year-old cathedral as a group of priests led by bishops came in. The leader of the group was swaying incense as he walked down the aisle. These priests were coming in. I seem to recall about 36. There might have been more. And they were all, the congregation and the priests were all singing from the liturgical book that we had. And the idea of the meeting was that there were 3 large vats of oil at the front. And these 3 types of oil would be used throughout the Catholic parishes around the UK. And in this service, as we met and we prayed, the idea was that the prayers of the saints in the congregation would be infused into the oil, so that as a priest then would take a vial of oil and anoint someone, either to anoint for the sick or to anoint for the ministry, to anoint at death, that it was not just placing oil on that individual, but it was imbuing them with the prayers of the hundreds of people gathered together in that service. That ritual was amazing to me. You see, up until that point, everything about my religious life was based on me as an individual. And while I believed that I was part of a larger community of faith, that idea that the community of faith itself was the larger product, the ritual of the songs and the processional and all of the garb worn by the priests and the robes and everything else, the incense, the candles, the prayers, all of that was new to me. And I realized that it's not just the religious ritual that is important to us. It is the ritual of daily living that centers us, that grounds us, that gives us a sense of comfort and peace and direction and purpose. And when we don't have that, our life is turned upside down. See, for my family, typically we have met in this room around this table for Thanksgiving. This year, because of COVID-19, it was just my mom and me. And because of the house is still under construction and this room is basically used to store furniture and other knickknacks and things, this room was out of touch. We could not do what we normally do. We wouldn't have my 3 kids and their family and 5 grandkids, and we wouldn't have this huge turkey and all the stuff that usually goes with it, and we wouldn't have days and days of food left over. The Thanksgiving ritual that we depended on year after year was gone. This living room that's normally filled with furniture and TV and Thomas Kincaid over the fireplace and a lot of warmth and invitingness, this living room was not used for Thanksgiving this year. It was used after the dinner when my daughters and their families came over, and we sat in chairs socially distanced in this room on this hardwood floor, plywood floor, and enjoyed some birthday cake with my mom. But the ritual of Thanksgiving was topsy-turvy. And that brings with it some real problems. All of us knew immediately when we were finally able to be back together again after not being able to be together for so long because of COVID, that we were energized anew. We were filled with a joy that we didn't know we were lacking at the time until it came rushing back in again as we were sitting around that empty room. It wasn't about the place, it wasn't about all the food, it wasn't about anything except the connectedness, the community of our family getting back together again, breathed new life into all of us. And we've all commented on it since it was over, that it was something that we so desperately needed in this time of pandemic and mask wearing and social distancing and not being able to see some of the people we love the most on a regular basis. And as much as we have needed what we experienced Thanksgiving afternoon, our kids need that just as badly. The ritual of their classroom, the ritual of school, the ritual that they have come to know and even without understanding it, appreciated and needed, that's been ripped from them this year. It's no wonder we have kids that are not engaged in our classes. It's no wonder that we have kids that don't show up when they're in an online environment, or that have excessive absences, or that typically would have great grades who are now failing classes. There is a piece of their heart that has been ripped out because of this lack of ritual. And if there's one thing that I can encourage you to do as their teacher, as their counselor, as their administrator, as their mentor, is recognize there is something there that you can put back into place in your classroom that can bring some semblance of order back into their lives. This ritual of school. They need it. They desperately, desperately need it. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you survive until Christmas and that you have a very healthy and happy holiday season. Until next week.